Buenos dias.
Buenos días.
You do better than that. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Are there any entrepreneurs in the audience today? Raise your hand if you currently own a business that you started at least 15 years ago. Okay. So let me ask you something. How would you feel if a few years after you started your business, somebody joined the company, and shortly after that, they started to say that they were the ones that started the company? And a few years later, they started to say, well, you may not understand the business too well, and you may not belong in the company anymore. You wouldn't feel too good, would you? It would be two things. Number one, it would be uncool. Number two, it would be inaccurate. It makes us think about how in elementary school, we're taught that the American story begins when the British arrived to Jamestown, Virginia in 1607 to establish the first permanent British settlement. Unfortunately, that's historically inaccurate. As far as I'm concerned, the American story begins 114 years before the British get to Jamestown in 1607. In 1493, on Columbus's second voyage to the New World, when he arrives on the shores of what is now U.S. territory in Puerto Rico. So the story of American expansion doesn't go from Virginia to the north and to the south. It actually goes from the Caribbean up to Florida, onto Alabama and Mississippi, Texas and California. As far north as Wyoming. So by the time the British get to Jamestown in 1607, there's already been a bunch of Latinos saying, "Bienvenidos, what took you so long?" Sadly, though, you won't see many of those stories in our history books. And you definitely won't see them in our national museums. Just like you won't see the stories about the fact that Latinos have been fighting in every single war this nation has ever had. Going back to the Revolutionary War, where Spanish General Bernardo de Galvez was indispensable in helping General Washington win the War of Independence. Or our Navy's first admiral during the Civil War, David Farragut, who said those immortal words, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." Or the 500,000 Latino troops making a difference in every theater of World War II. Or one of the most highly decorated combat units of the Korean conflict, the Borinqueneros of Puerto Rico. Or the young Latinas and Latinos sacrificing and fighting on our behalf in the battlefields of Afghanistan and Iraq, and the 60 Hispanic Medal of Honor recipients. My friends, as an Air Force veteran myself, I'm here to tell you, Latinos take a backseat to no one in the defense of liberty.
Yeah, come on.
Right? So whether you are a recent immigrant to this country or whether your family has been here for 20 generations, you can feel proud of the fact that Latinos have played an important role in every single aspect of American society. Imagine if we did not have Latino workers in our farms and in our factories, in our hotels and in our hospitals, in our restaurants and in our research laboratories, in our sanitation departments and in our Supreme Court of the United States, in our music studios and in our movie sets. Well, we don't have to imagine that, because for over 500 years, we've been relying on Latinos to fight our wars and to run our businesses, to tend our fields and to mend our wounds, to teach our kids, patrol our streets, write our laws, and to share the word of God. My friends, contrary to what some might have you believe, Latinos are not a recent patch being sewn onto the tapestry of America. We are an essential foundational thread woven into the very fabric of America. We are 18% of the population today. By 2060, we'll be 30% of the population. If we hope to remain a strong and thriving and vibrant nation, that segment of the population needs to feel acknowledged, engaged, and invested in our future. It's for those reasons that we need a National Museum of the American Latino on the National Mall as part of the Smithsonian Institution, for a more complete and accurate telling of American history, to illuminate the American story for the benefit of everybody. And I've got some great news for you. After many years, we are closer than we have ever been to getting the enabling legislation passed in Congress. In the House of Representatives, we surpassed our goal of a bipartisan 2/3 supermajority in the House of Representatives. We now have 295 co-sponsors in the House. We continue our dialogue with the White House, and we've got 27 co-sponsors in the Senate, but we need more. The other great news is that you can help us. So grab your phones right now, and I want you to text the words Latino Museum to the number 44321. That's an easy number, right? Say it with me, 44321, Latino Museum. And if you scroll up, you'll see instructions on how you can contact your senator and urge them to support our bill. because we're gonna get this happen, we're gonna make this happen together. This year, in this Congress, and signed by this president. Because I've been involved in this effort for almost 12 years now. It's been a labor of love for me. I have a dream of being able to walk into this museum with my children, my eventual grandchildren, and I have a vision of a young Latina born today, right here in Washington, D.C., and on her 6th grade field trip, she'll go downtown and she can marvel at the monuments, and she can visit Capitol Hill, and she can go to the national museums, including the National American Latino Museum, and she can see all these stories that I've been talking about, and she can leave that museum proud, not only to be a Latina, but proud to be an American. Thank you all, my friends, very much. God bless you.